Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joffrey Noodle Legs here today with the lovely Sullivan. Hello Sullivan, you alright mate? We're here today doing another video on movies. I've got another top 10 for you today. Today I'm doing my top 10 Asian cinema films. I haven't really done much on the Asian cinema. I have, like I told you in other videos, that I'm not a huge fan of Asian sort of horror films. Well, I am, but not. I'm not a big fan of the sort of J horror films because I just find them quite sort of samey. You know, Ring, Grudge, Dark Waters. They all kind of similar sort of ghost stories, and I just, you know, they're great, but they're just not for me. If you like, you know, I just um, I'm not saying even saying not for me. Not choose. I do enjoy them when I watch them, but I don't go out my way to watch them because like I say I find them too repetitive, and you know it's predictable. You know when the jump scares are going to happen, and they've all got like one sort of creepy young lad or young girl's completely white with long hair. You know what I mean? They're all quite similar. I was thinking, you know, yeah, okay. I've seen that in the last film. That's the same, you know. So I tend not to be a big fan of those, but I do like a lot of horror, especially like Korean films. I think they make some amazing horror films. I think there's a couple in my top 10, but we'll get to those anyway because this is Asian cinema, so it's not going to be just horror films. Okay, so before I get to the top 10, I've got three honourable mentions. So let me get those ready. Sullivan's sitting on them. Number one here, honourable mention is Lady Snowblood. This is a samurai sort of revenge movie, and she's a female samurai. Some of the fight sequences in this film is really cool, and it's very gory. It's an 18. A lot of these sort of early sort of like 1960s, 70s, 80s samurai films are very gory, and this is no exception. But yeah, Lady Snowblood, it's a really good film. So if you get a chance to watch this, I believe this is now available on Blu-ray. I've just not managed to pick it up. But again, like I've told you before, I don't necessarily feel the need to keep upgrading to new formats. So I tend to keep with what I've got if I'm happy with it. Another honourable mention is from the Hong Kong movies, it's Chinese movies. And this is The Big Boss, starring Bruce Lee. This is a really cool film. He sort of like works for this like company that are quite abusive to the staff. The boss is quite abusive, and he sort of like helps to fight the people that work for this boss out. So and sort of like get people escaped. It's a really good film, Bruce Lee film. He's done some amazing films. I do have them all on Blu-ray, which is really cool. And these Blu-ray releases they release are really cool because they've got like all booklets and stuff about the film and stuff like that. I might go do some more on Bruce Lee. I might actually do a couple of Noodle film reviews on a couple of his movies. So I won't talk too much about these. I will leave those for those reviews. Another honourable mention is a film I picked up a few weeks ago in one of my pickup videos. I have seen it before and I was glad to pick it up again, and it's The Blind Woman's Curse, which is like a Yakuza film. This is like a woman who's gets involved with a fight, and she gets injury to her eye with a sword, and there's a black cat in there that licks her eye, and they sort of get a connection with that, and the black cat tends to help her sort of like get revenge on like this Yakuza family. So it's a really good film. It's very interesting, and I'm really glad to pick this up on Blu-ray because I had it a long time ago in one of my Yakuza box sets, but I can no longer put my hands on it. So I'm actually really glad to pick this up, and I did talk about it in my pickups that I got. So that's really cool. So they are my honourable mentions, and now I'm getting to my top 10 Asian cinema films. Number 10 is one I did a video review on, and it's a sort of horror comedy musical. And there we go. It's The Happiness of the Katakuris. I have told you a lot about this. It's about a family that leave the big city to open a an inn, a guest house, if you like, in the middle of nowhere. They don't have any guests staying. Eventually, guests start turning up, but the guests that start turning up start just dying, uh, sort of like randomly, and it's just like, and they try and hide the evidence of these people dying because they don't want a bad reputation for the hotel. And it's a musical as well, and it's it's a great film, and I absolutely loved it. I only saw it for the first time. A couple of weeks ago, and it's gone straight into my top 10. So that shows you how good it is. That's in my top 10 favourite Asian cinema films of all time already, number 10. Number 9, it's a series of films. Again, with more Japanese films. It's the Lone Wolf and Cub films. Now, they made a series of films. This box set here contains quite a few of them. It's got The Sword of Vengeance, Baby Cart and the River Styx, Baby Cart and Hades, Baby Cart in Pearl, Baby Cart in the Land of Demons, and White Heaven on Hell. Now, these are like a series of films about a samurai and his young baby son, who's in like, he walks around with a cart like a pram. But the pram's got like knives and swords built into it, and even on the wheels and stuff like that. I think his wife was murdered, so he goes out there on like, I don't know if you remember in the 1970s there was a TV show with David Carradine called Kung Fu, where he's got these different adventures. It's a little bit like that. They've got their different adventures, and they come across different sort of evil, and he gets hired out a lot. He's like a sort of samurai for hire. So he does all these sort of different jobs, and the films are basically him out for hire. It's a really nice box set. This is the DVD version. They have released this on Blu-ray Arrow, but it's normally quite expensive. I would love to pick that up at some point because I do like these films, and to have these sort of remastered into a more sort of 2K, 4K format would be great. I mean, because they do look a little bit rough on this version, because they're quite old. You know, these films come out a long, long, long time ago, so they do look their age. They haven't, but they are still great watch, and they are extremely, extremely gory films. There's not one of them that's not got any gore. Most samurai films are really gory. I don't know if you've seen many, but they are quite gory because there's obviously a lot of decapitations and body parts being cut off and things. So don't be shocked by that. That's number 9. Number 8 is a really gory film, and this is released on Arrow. Um, and this is another Japanese film, and it's Blade of the Immortals. I absolutely love this film. It's really cool. It's about this guy here. His sister gets killed, and he gets cursed with immortality, and he just, so if he loses an arm or something, it grows back, sort of thing, and he can't sort of die, and he goes on revenge for his sister and family killers. It's a lot of these sort of samurai films were sort of revenge movies. I don't know why, they just were. They just made lots and lots of movies, and most of them were revenge. And again, this is another good release with the booklet. Really, really cool. Yeah, he takes on like a whole samurai family there. So yeah, number 7. I think it was number 7, wasn't it? Yep. Number 6. It's a horror film. You're saying, hey, at last, a horror film. And this is a Korean horror film. If I can get out of the box, because it's a part of a trilogy. And this is called The Train to Busan. This is a really good film. It's a not a zombie film, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it does get said on here the best zombie film since 28 Days Later. Well, 28 Days Later wasn't a zombie film. Okay, this is not a zombie film. They are infected. There's about an infection, a virus that's going around, and all these towns are being quarantined, and it's spreading like really quick. And they're on a train, and the train can't stop at every town. They can't stop because it's been quarantined and infected, and there's half of the train has got full of infected people on it. So they're trying to, they sort of section themselves off from the train, and it's crazy, and it's just Yeah, it's close to a zombie film, but remember, zombies are walking dead that feast on others. These are not feasting on them; they're just killing them to spread the virus. They are infected, so it's not a zombie film. It does make me a little bit mad, especially when you get it on the back there. Look, see, the best zombie film since 28 Days Later. Neither of zombie films. But anyway, it's a really cool film, and it's quite intense and gripping. Um, the infected are really cool. Um, they do sort of like pile up on each other, like in the zombie film World War Z. They tend to do things like that, and they're very fast moving. Um, it's it's based around a young girl with her father, and there's another guy with his pregnant woman. There's like a tramp guy, and and there's like and there's two school kids trying to survive together as a little group, and it's a really sort of like intense sort of film, but it's a really cool film, and it went on to spawn a sequel, which I also have, Train to Pennsylvania, and it also spawned a prequel, Cell Train Station. And this one here is actually animated. The prequel is an animated film. So yeah, it's a really cool film. If you've not seen Train to Busan and you like those sort of infected sort of films like 28 Days Later and that, you'll love it. It's really cool. And the effects on it are really good as well. Really cool. That was number 7. Number 6, we're back to Japan with Zatoichi. Zatoichi is a another samurai film, but this is about the blind samurai man, the hit guy there. He's samurai, but he's blind, and it's really cool. It's got a bit of humour in it. It's very gory, but it's got a lot of quite humour on it. It's another sort of revenge film, um, and sort of like he gets sort of, because the people sort of prey on him, but his other senses are so heightened, like his sense of sound and things like that. He's a bit like a spider. He's got like really sort of like even the wind past him, he can use as an ability. It's really cool, and it's good watching. There's some really great sort of samurai showdown fights in that film. Really good. Get to my top 5. Number 5 is another horror film, and it's a Korean film again, and it's called I Saw the Devil. This is an amazing film. It's a harsh, brutal film, and it's a really disturbing film, and it's quite gory. You've got to have a stomach to watch this one because it is sort of stomach churning. This film here is about this guy's wife gets killed by a serial killer. So he goes out hunting for the serial killer, and he finds him, and he tortures him, but then he lets him go. And then he hunts him again, finds him and tortures him more. So he's getting his own back by little bits at a time, and it's like a cat and mouse film, but it's really good. It's really intense. It's quite a long film, but it's quite an intense film. It's really good. But you have to have quite a strong. If you're not into sort of films of torture and stuff like that, this is not for you at all. It's quite a difficult watch, and it's very brutal and very violent. But it's a really good film, and that's I Saw the Devil. Number 4 is another collection of films. These are really old sort of samurai films, and it's the Kurosawa films. I love Kurosawa films; they're brilliant. This one has pretty much all of them. This box set. Again, this has got a Blu-ray release, but this is the DVD version. It's fantastic. Includes the classic Seventh Samurai, which everyone knows, and it's got the other ones. What's the other ones? It's got the Fawn of Blood, the Hidden Fortress. I really like the Fortress. This has got Yojimbo, which is brilliant. I really like that one, and it's also got Sanjuro. So it's got this box set's got about 5 movies in it, but they're all quite lengthy movies. The most famous one is obviously Seventh Samurai, which spawned a remake in America, and they called it The Magnificent Seven. Okay, number 3. It's another film from China. It's a Bruce Lee film. and it's The Way of the Dragon. I absolutely love this one. It's fantastic. He's gone off to, I think he goes to Italy or somewhere, to his family who own like a restaurant there, and it gets tormented by like a family there that are tormenting the restaurant. So he's gone there to help out and sort of like sort out the problems there. And it's also stars Chuck Norris, and there's a famous fight scene at the end in sort of like Colosseum with Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. It's a really, really cool film. Very violent, against 18. Most Bruce Lee films are 18. But this is the Chinese version. It's in Chinese with, I think it's in Mandarin. And it's got English subtitles. Actually, I think this one might even have a dub version of it in there. Again, it's a really good release. You got 2 different versions of the film. Really cool. That's number 3, Way of the Dragon. Number 2, sticking with China cinema. Let's get this out of the box. And this one is with Jackie Chan, and it's Police Story. I love this film. It's an action comedy kung fu film, and it's brilliant. Bruce Lee plays a police officer, and he's got to mind a witness because they're trying to get this drug baron, and he's minding the female witness. And it's a story capers that he gets up to, and it's got loads of kung fu sort of stunts in there, because Jackie Chan's renowned for his stunts. It's got some great stunts in a shopping mall, and the beginning open sequence is really cool. They're driving through this sort of shanty sort of village downhill, and the cars smashing through all these sort of shanty little huts and stuff. It's quite a dramatic start to a film, but it's a great film. It's a fantastic watch, and there is a video coming up of my film review on this, so I won't speak too much about it. It does come, this is the sequel, Police Story 2. This one is like, he's gone down to being like a traffic cop because of the damage he done in the first one. So, but then he finally gets his way up again. They did make a 3rd one called Super Cop, and I believe they just made a 4th one called Lockdown, which is quite recent. But this one's in a box set with the 2nd one, and this is Police Story. So my favourite Asian cinema film is a Japanese samurai film called 13 Assassins. This is fantastic. Again, it's a little bit like Magnificent Seven, where they go to help this poor village out that's been and there's this like baron of this like family that's just absolute evil, and he's sort of like, he's cut people up, he's dishonored so many families. Anyway, that they go looking for help, and they go to get these samurai, and they got 13 legendary samurais to go and help this village. And the last 25-30 minutes of the film is a fight scene, pretty much, in the village. Oh, it's fantastic. It's an amazing film. It's quite an emotional ride, to be honest, but it's such a good film. I cannot recommend this film enough. It is my favourite Asian cinema film of all time, because I love samurai, and I love this so much. It's such a good film. I highly recommend you've seen this if you've not seen it. 13 Assassins. It is in Japanese with English subtitles, but again, that adds to it, because it's authentically accurate. It's all set in the right time, right costumes, everything. It's a fantastic film. Please watch that if you've never seen it. And that is my top 10 Asian cinema films. What are yours? Write them down below. I know I've not put many horrors in there, but there you go. It's nice to have a bit of a mix-up, isn't it? Anyway, guys, I will be doing some more top 10s, and I will be reviewing that Police Story, very soon. So watch out for that. Until next time, look after yourselves, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.